Hey there everybody, how you going? So we've got a new Battle Challenge mini event and we have a new banner. You can see at the top of the screen there, a very cute version of Baymax with a pool floaty around his waist. I gotta say the sprite's pretty dang cute and adorable. I have not had any luck pulling for him yet. I've only been using like the free tickets, and I use my my daily 100 crystal pull on them. So far, I've had zero luck. But we'll get to Baymax and his review in just a minute. Really the only thing going on this week is the Battle Challenge mini event. So not a whole lot necessarily to talk about. But I do want to mention that they made some pretty big changes to the Battle Challenge mini event, and I just want to cover those in case you didn't check it out in the news. One of the things they didn't change, which I wish they would, is that they still only give you 1 week to do it. Unlike the normal Battle Challenge events that give you 2 weeks, since this is a Battle Challenge mini event, it's only 1 week. But they have made a few changes since the last one, and some of them are pretty big. Like, for example, on floors 1 through 13, you're not actually fighting the boss anymore. You're just fighting like generic mobs, which means it's a lot easier to farm stages, 1 through 13. So depending on how strong your units are, there may be a floor where you can only, reasonably consistently auto farm. But since they're just plain old mobs and they're not bosses, it's a lot easier to auto farm higher levels now. So you don't actually start fighting the boss till level 14 and 15. And so that's sort of a new change that they've made, and I kind of like that actually. I think it's a good change. They've also, and I'm so glad about this, they removed the rankings, which just never really made sense for the Battle Challenge mini events to have a ranking system, because it was I mean, everyone was just going for the 3,000 points to get the maximum rewards, and like it didn't make sense to keep on going beyond that. And I think they noticed that like people would just stop once you hit 300,000 points, because there was no real reason to go beyond that, unless you were just trying to clear out every single thing in the shop, which you didn't really need to do. And so it just didn't make sense to have a ranking system for Battle Challenge Mini. And they've put the rewards in through like the mission rewards now, instead of having ranking rewards, which I think is fine. I think that's a much better way to go about it. Just get rid of the ranking, because it's not really a ranking event like Boss Sim is. It's just more of a farming event, and so now it is officially a farming event and not a ranking event. They've greatly reduced the materials required to exchange for Singer Cinderella, Magician Minnie Mouse, and medals, which is nice. I think it just means they reduce the cost of points to buy them in the shop. I haven't actually checked to see if they're like significantly less, if they cost significantly less or not, but that's always nice to see, because that just makes it easier to acquire those free units and the medals to level up those units for people. And then they also apparently have reduced the cost to buy the limited time gacha tickets. So that's something that they've consistently done with these Battle Challenge mini events, is giving out free tickets for like the banner unit that comes out with the BC mini event. In this case, it's the Floatie Baymax. And so just like all the other ones, there are 30 free banner tickets up for grabs to get this guy, meaning that assuming that you do the 300,000 points for the event to get all 30 tickets, that you should be able to pity this guy for 6,000 crystals, which is pretty nice. We'll talk about whether or not it's worth it in just a minute. The bonus units for this one are Singer Ariel, Lifesaver Baymax, that's the new Baymax, and Singer Ursula, which really sucks for me because I have none of these units. I have 0 bonus units. I was so sure that they were going to have like the old Baymax in there as a bonus unit, and I'm very disappointed because I have the old Baymax, but I don't have any of these other units. I have none of them. So I'm just praying that at some point I get a free Floatie Baymax, because man, I farming farming these is going to be a bit of a drag for me if I can't get any of these bonus units. But yeah, that's just me. But yeah, and so the rest of this stuff is all pretty much stuff that we already knew. Yeah, but those are the big changes that they made, and those are the bonus units for the battle. So I just wanted to go over that real quick. Now, as for Baymax, let's talk about him real quick. Because he is super cute, but is he really worth your crystals? And in my personal opinion, no. I don't think he's worth pulling for. However, considering that you can potentially get him for 6,000 crystals or less, like if you have paid crystals, you can do the daily 100 crystal pulls. You can theoretically get him for as cheap as I think like 45 or something like that. I think you can get them as cheap as like 45,000 crystals if you do the daily 100s every day as well. And then if you get all 30 of the free tickets. So, I mean, in that sense, it's almost like, well, you might as well go to Pity just to pick him up, because he's not a bad investment, but I don't think he's a super strong unit. I still haven't put him, ranked him on the tier list yet, because I've been going back and forth with the folks on the Discord. I'm just trying to figure out and get a sense for everyone's feelings on this unit. But the consensus seems to be that he's not really worth going all out for. If you pick him up on some free tickets, great, but probably don't blow all your crystals on this guy. I don't think he's really worth it. He is an interesting unit, however, and he's one of the first support units to actually have a striker ability on his EX skill, which is really neat. Now, this is him at LB0. At LB0, he's not super strong. He does a level 2 crit chance buff. So if you don't have Bell, or if you don't have like an LB2, what's his name, Stitch, the 2-star Stitch, he's a good crit buffer. Also gives you a bit of healing, 20% heal on that crit buff as well. And then his EX skill gives you the crit power up, and also deals heavy damage with a rage striker on it, which is kind of interesting. Now, one of the things we've been talking about in the community Discord is like, how effective really is that rage striker on his EX skill? And really probably the only time you would see it activating is on the turn that you actually push the boss into rage mode, because normally you would do that by hitting the boss with skills, and then Baymax would come in at the very end after the boss has already been pushed into rage mode, and then hit it with the rage striker. But then the following turn, most of the time we're pushing the boss out of rage mode as fast as we can, usually in one turn, usually just with like the skills and the regular attacks. And so by the time he gets around to doing his EX skill, the boss is already in confusion mode, and you lose the rage striker bonus on it. So I don't know how effective it could be. Now, it could be very effective on harder bosses, like in the very hard Maleficent fight, in the very hard stages, where it's a lot harder to get her out of rage mode because she typically puts up a shield, so you got to chew through the shield first, and then you're getting, it might take a few turns to actually get her out of rage mode. So in cases like that, Baymax actually might be pretty useful. But I feel like his use cases are fairly limited unless you really don't have a good crit chance buffer. But he is unique in that he is sort of like a healer buffer that deals pretty good damage with the heavy damage skill on there. And if you do happen to catch a boss while they're in rage mode, he's going to get that two times bonus damage with the rage striker. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not sure if I should rate him like an S tier or an A tier. I'm kind of on the fence about him. I've got to think about it. I'll still put a link to the compendium in the details below. And once I do figure out where I think he's going to land after I've gotten more feedback from the community, I'll figure out where he lands, and I will try to update that by the end of the day today. Now, of course, if you do get him upgraded at level 1, he gains a poison cure, which is nice. You know, poison's a fairly common ailment that we get. It's nice to be able to cure that on demand. If you get him to LB2, that does increase the crit chance up to level 3, which allows him to activate his EX skill right away on turn 1. I will say one of the biggest drawbacks of his EX skill while I'm on that, because you notice that the requirements are level 3 crit chance and 90% or more max HP. That's a pretty hard requirement in some fights. You know, keeping a, like, all a boss has to do is sneeze on you, and that often drops you below 90% HP. Like, those of you that like to use Judy a lot, which you're probably using Judy in the current event, you know how easy it is to knock Judy out of that 90% HP and lose her EX skill, right? So imagine that, but it's on Baymax, and he also has to have that extra level 3 crit chance, which isn't such a big deal since he brings that buff with him. But yeah, I mean, it's just not quite as convenient as, say, like an 80% or 75%. Like, I don't mind it when the unit has like a 75% or 80% HP restriction, like Moana, for example. You know, Genie's another great example. He's got 75% requirement. That's not nearly as bad, but man, 90% is pretty rough. So that's a bit of a drawback for me. But anyways, you get him to LB2. He gets the level 3 crit chance up. His heal goes up to 30%, which is fine. It's nothing great. It's kind of like Cruella, right? So if we remember, Cruella had the same thing. 30, you know, starts at 20% heal, goes up to 30% heal, and her buffs gain that increase, right? So he's, in that sense, he's a little bit of a variant of Cruella, but he definitely brings a lot of other things. When I first looked at him, I thought he was like a super confused unit. I was just like, what is he trying to be? Is he trying to be a buffer? Is he trying to be a healer? Is he trying to be a damage dealer? Like, what's he trying to do? And it just kind of feels like he's trying to be a jack of multiple trades, but a master of none, right? And so I definitely would prefer a unit that's just like really good at one or two things, but he does have he's got a bit of role compression, and I think, you know, someone made a good comment in the Discord that, you know, we have a lot of DPS units that also do side healing. You know, we've got Ariel, who heals on her EX ability. You've got, who was it? Alice, I believe. Alice heals on her skill. You got No, Alice did regen. And then Rapunzel, the new Rapunzel, the adventurous girl, the Chucky doll Rapunzel, does a heal on her skill. So we have these DPS units that are also bringing side heals with them. So I feel like if you have some of those units, he can be more effective because you're making up for his lack of healing, right? By supplementing those heals with other damage dealers that are also bringing heals with them. So I feel like if you have the right team combination for him to fit in there, he can be potentially a pretty cool unit to have on your party. But for me, because I don't have any of those DPS units that also heal. I don't have Ariel, I don't have Alice, I don't have the new Rapunzel. So for me, Baymax is not a unit I really see fitting into any of my team combos. You can guarantee he'll be a bonus unit in the next boss sim, so I guess there's that. If you're chasing boss sim rankings, then yeah, pick him up, because he'll be out there at the top of the charts in boss sim. But yeah, I don't see any reason for me personally to pick him up, but I think for some people there may be some use cases for him. All right, and his stats are pretty good. Like, I mean, his stats basically max out the same as all your other top DPS units, with the exception being Moana. Moana is the only one that's broken that 1724 attack cap. But yeah, so I mean, his attack stats and defense stats are really good. He's got really good HP, so he's going to be a pretty tanky unit, which is nice. If you get him to, you know, like LB3, he'll be a tanky boy, as he should be. I mean, he's a big robot, right? And that floatie, I'm sure, provides some extra protection. But anyways, that's my review. My review is that he's not a must pull unit, but hey, I mean, you know, if you get all the free tickets, why not spend the $6K and just pick up a copy for the future? That's what I'll probably end up doing. I'm definitely going to try and get all the free tickets. It might be a bit of a struggle since I have no bonus units, but I'm going to try. And assuming I get all those free tickets, I will go and get a pity copy of this guy. Just doing like the daily pulls every day, and then whatever's left, I'll use my free crystals on to get that. So yeah, you know, probably worth it to pick up that one pity for 6K, but otherwise, I don't know that I would go hard on this unit unless you have the right units to complement his skill set. I will say there is also they do also have, where did they list it? I think it was here that they're gonna, yeah, the 300 days login bonus. So that starts on August 2nd. And so that's in a couple of days. They'll start the login bonus for the 300 days since launch. And as long as you log in for 7 days, you get 3,000 blue crystals, which is pretty great. So just make sure you log in every day for the upcoming week to get those free crystals. Now, as for the actual battle challenge event, let's pop in here and just take a look. So as we mentioned in the news, they've made some changes. So level 1 through 13 is just generic mobs. And so I'll just show you, if you go to the stage info, you'll see it's just generic mobs. You also get picks for initial clears, which is nice. So, you know, you can get more picks to get your super pixels and your wisdom orbs and whatnot. The generic mobs, however, do not have any color weakness, so you can just bring anybody you want. You don't have to worry about, you know, bringing white strikers like Singer, you know, Ariel for these guys. They have no weakness, so just bring your strongest AoE damage dealers. So I just, you know, use my farming team for those. But then this is the team that I've been using to farm level 15. I'll show you how that works. So starting at level 14, you get the Sunfish. And it's just the Sunfish, it's no one else. You'll notice the Sunfish is weak to white strikers, so it has a white weakness. So Singer Ariel is really good. Picnic Tigger if you have him. Judy is fantastic. That's why I have Judy on my party. And so this is the one that I've been using to knock these guys out. Now they do have some limited time missions to get more Baymax tickets. So you get some of them from logging in. So we already got 3 from logging in today. We'll get 3 more for logging in tomorrow, 4 for logging in the day after that. So that's your 10 tickets from logging in. You get 10 tickets from the shop, and then you get 10 tickets from doing the points. So you got to get this is where you have to get 300,000 points to get all of the tickets. All right, and that'll get you all your Baymax tickets. Okay, but other than that, there are no special, like those are all the rewards that we have. There are no other special rewards. You just got to get those 300,000 points. As for the exchange shop, so yeah, they still have Singer, Cinderella, and Magician Minnie Mouse. I was hoping they would add Genie, Hero of the Lamp Genie, who is like the next free unit in line, because they've been adding a new unit for each of these BC mini events, but unfortunately they have not added Hero Genie yet. I'm hoping they will eventually, because he's a great free unit, great for just clearing, you know, for farming, you know, farming AoE mobs and stuff like that. But yeah, between the two, definitely focus on Magician Minnie Mouse. She's the better unit, but you know, no reason you shouldn't go and get both of them. As for me, what I've been doing is I've been focusing on the tickets first. So as you can see, I've already got all the tickets. I also went ahead and got the stamina potions because they significantly reduce the cost on the stamina potions. So it's definitely worth it to go ahead and clear out stamina potions so you can actually use those for the event and get more points. But yeah, stamina potions, limited time gacha tickets, those are the first priority. Next, I'm going to go for the premier gacha tickets because you can potentially pull Ariel or Ursula from the premier gacha. So you might as well go in there and use them as soon as you can get them, because you never know when you're going to pull a bonus unit, right? And increase your bonus. So as soon as you get a ticket, my recommendation is go ahead and throw it and chuck it in there. Don't just wait until you get 10 tickets, because it doesn't increase your chances at all. And it's much better to pull the tickets as you get them, because then you're maximizing your point bonus, right? Just on the off chance that you happen to pull a bonus unit. After I'm done getting the tickets, I'll probably go for like attack cubes, defense cubes, and customization seeds. And then after that, I'll probably get, I'll probably start looking at the orbs. I also need to get more pixels, because I've used a ton of pixels to create super pixels. So I got to go in and I got to buy up some upgrade pixels. But yeah, it's really, it depends on where you are. Like a newer player, you may be just jonesing for orbs because you need to upgrade your team and you need to upgrade your units, right? So, go for whatever is your priority. But for me, my priority is limited time tickets, premier gacha tickets, attack and defense cubes, customization seeds, and those are my top priorities. And then from there, I'll just kind of whittle my way down. I personally don't really need any more wisdom orbs. I don't have enough picks to actually craft wisdom orbs with the fragments. I could use some more pixel glue, because crafting those super pixels uses a fair amount of pixel glue, but I'm also nowhere near running out of pixel glue. So I'm not too stressed about that. Fancy thread and all that crap, I almost never buy that stuff unless I have enough points after I've bought everything else. So to me, that stuff is useless. All right, so real quick, I'll show you just how I clear out level 15. So I've been manual farming it. I don't have an auto farm team because it costs 20 stamina and it only takes me 2 turns to beat this thing. So for me, I'm happy to just manual farm this thing. All right. Now, obviously, your team might not be as strong as mine, but I'll show you how I do a 2-turn clear on this guy to just farm level 15. That's pretty simple. All right, so obviously I set up my buffs. I have Doofy go for the attack boost. And, this usually gets the boss down pretty close to... Now, you'll notice when you push the boss into rage mode, it does 2 sunfish charges, and at least for me, it always hits the unit in slot 1 and slot 2. So in that case, that's Genie and Doofy. So if you have any units that have an HP requirement where you have to be above a certain amount of HP, do not put them in slot 1 or 2. Unless you're going to kill the boss in the next turn. But yeah, just because the boss will almost always hit on that turn. All right, so on this turn, I'm going to do White Striker with Judy, all right, because the boss is white weak, as you can see. Okay, again, yep, it's weak. And then Moana is going to go because she is a Rage Striker, and so we're going to get two big bonus hits from these guys. We might even kill it, but if we don't, the EX skills will take care of the rest. All right, almost got it. There you go. So that's how I just do a 2-turn farming run. Now, obviously, your team might not be as strong. Hey, Explorer level up. Sweet. All right. So what we might do is I might just try a different team. Let's try... Who do I have in my White Strike? Let's see. Let's not use such a strong team here, right? Let's use some more common units. Let's use... I'll keep Judy just for the White Strike, because she's the only White Striker I have, right? But let's throw, why not Cinderella? Let's throw Cinderella, because the boss can be attack broken. So having an attack break is really useful. If you have Prince... where is he? Prince Eric. Prince Eric's also really cool because he's got an attack break that's really cheap. Actually, I think I'll do Prince Eric instead. Let's do Prince Eric and... yeah, let's do Prince Eric and... yeah, let's do that. I like that. Okay. Because he's got an even cheaper attack break skill. Let's do that. All right, so we're going to try this team. And hope, just hope that I don't kill it too quickly. That's the thing, right? We don't want to kill this thing too quick. Okay, so here we go. We're going to defend here, and yeah. So this way we're going to have a lot of defense. All right, we'll have a really good defense, and we'll have... I guess I probably should have brought a healer, actually. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem. I just realized that. We'll have regen from Pooh, though, so maybe it won't be that big of a deal. All right. And then, yeah, we're going to just keep skilling up. We're just going to skill it up here. All right. Keep skilling. So we maximize all of our buffs. We maximize the attack break. Judy's going to bring the defense break as well. Because if you remember this boss, they did this boss a while ago for a rescue signal event. And if you remember, this boss has to be, when it's in confusion mode, you have to attack break it, and you have to attack break it and defense break it every turn while it's in confusion. So now it's in confusion mode, so we have to do an attack break and a defense break every turn. So that's another reason to bring Eric, and Judy's great because she does the defense break. So if you don't do that, I believe it dispels your party. So it dispels all your buffs, which really sucks. So you got to make sure you attack break it and defense break it every turn, because he clears his buffs every turn. You notice he's cleared his attack break and defense break. He'll do that every turn in confusion mode, so you have to reapply it every turn. All right. So now it's time to re-up our buffs. Apply attack break with Eric, defense break with Judy. Okay, we're getting pretty close. We'll probably kill it next turn. All right, so that was a big AoE that dealt poison. Again, that's why they put poison cure on Baymax, on the new Baymax, so you can cure that poison that it does. But yeah, that's not really an issue for us. This should definitely knock the boss out without issue. Okay, Eric will probably kill it, and if he doesn't, then Judy definitely will. All right, so that's how you kill this boss. If you're just trying to reach level 15, but you know, that wasn't necessarily a super strong team. I know my Judy's pretty strong. You know, she's like LB 6 or something right now, but you should still be able to clear it out fairly easily. And you get 1,400 points for it. So, you know, obviously if you can farm level 15, that's the best level to farm. I think you only get like 1,000 points at level 14, for example. So it's a pretty big increase to go from level 14 to level 15. And even if it takes you 5 or 6 turns, it's worth it for the bonus points, right? Now, hopefully you have the bonus units to go in here. I do not. Poor sad little me. I do not have the bonus units to do it. But yeah, that's just me. I do have enough now. I think I can buy a premiere ticket, and I might even, let's do a poll real quick. Maybe I'll get Ursula or Ariel from the premiere gotcha. That would be pretty exciting. All right, let's see if I get something. How cool would that be? Oh, it's a gold. Oh, new unit, come on. Oh, look at that. No way. Oh, that is awesome. I just got, holy cow. What are the chances of that? What are the chances? That is unbelievable. Oh my goodness. My first Singer Ursula. Now I finally have a bonus unit. Oh my gosh. That is great. That is fantastic. I'm so glad that happened on the recording. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, that was really awesome. Thank you so much for following me. I will see you on the other side.